this is one we all look forward to, isn't it? Thursday night, big audience against one of the premier teams in the AFL. Are you approaching it as a really big opportunity to put on a show for the fans?
Yeah, definitely. I think we love playing at the Gabba, obviously. We tend to get a big crowd now at the Gabba, love playing in front of the fans, and Easter Thursday is a sort of privileged time slot for us to play. So we're excited to go out and hopefully put on a show for our fans and for ourselves as well. Great opportunity Thursday night with the footy world watching, so we're looking forward to the challenge against, as you said, one of the best teams in the competition, so we can't wait.
It's never an easy challenge, but in particular this season, Collingwood look like one of the benchmarks in the competition.
Yeah, they do. They've had a great start to the year, and obviously last year they were a point off or a couple of points off making a grand final. So for a couple of years now, they've been probably the benchmark. Geelong obviously last year were another level, but Collingwood have been so consistent for the last 12 months and a really hard team to stop and to play against. We had a close game against them this time slot last year, so it should be another cracker.
Is there a sense of frustration within the team at the moment? It's just that inconsistency over the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty small sample size, so I wouldn't say we're frustrated, but I think we left a few opportunities on the table last week. That's probably where the frustration lies, just from reviewing the game. We had some opportunities, we missed some shots. Doggies were really good with their pressure and made the most of their opportunities, and we probably lacked a fair bit of polish with the ball as well, which was a little bit frustrating, but clearly round one was almost unacceptable from us, and bounced back round two, and then I thought our effort and intensity was there for the majority of the night on Thursday, but we just lacked that polish that we usually bring. So we think it's a pretty simple fix, and we're looking forward to rectifying some of the issues on Thursday.
What is your read on that? Because points scored isn't usually a department that you have to worry about, but things haven't been as easy going up front this year. What do you think you do need to change just to get that sort of scoreboard ticking over?
Yeah, like I said, round one was just a shocking day. Round two we scored pretty well until the lights went out, and then last week we didn't make the most of our opportunities, didn't move the ball well, so we feel like it's probably not a trend. We know that we can score quite heavily. I think the pleasing thing is our defence has actually tightened up. Other than round one, we've actually kept teams to relatively low scores, so that's keeping us in games, and it's a good starting point, so we want to keep that going, but just get our ball movement going a little bit better than what it was last week.
Can you be less reliant on just simply winning the ball in stoppages, do you think? Like, you need to find other ways to turn the game in your favour if you are dominating that area of the game?
Yeah, I think scores off turnover is an important stat, and last week we didn't score much at all from anything, so we've been working pretty hard over the summer, and I think usually we're quite good in that area. So even through the pre-season games we were able to score against some pretty good teams, so we're not too worried, but we do want to bounce back and rectify the offensive side of the game quickly, so we'll see how we go.
Speaking of bouncing back, are you expecting Joe Danaher to bounce back after copping a bit of criticism over his match?
As he copped a bit, I haven't really tuned into too much this week, but I know that Joe was probably disappointed with how he performed on the weekend, but I'm sure that he'll put in as much effort as he can to play a good one on Thursday night. He still could have kicked probably 2 or 3, but he missed a few. But yeah, I haven't really spoken to him too much this week, but I know that he was a little bit disappointed with his game, but yeah, I'm sure we'll see the best of Joe on Thursday. He'll be doing everything he can to get the most out of himself.
We obviously heard a lot about your midfield additions, Dunkley and Ashcroft, and they've done quite well. Hugh McCluggage seems a little bit down, I guess, on the super high bar he's set himself over the last 4 years. What are you seeing in his first few weeks?
Yeah, I think he's the first to admit he's not playing his best footy at the moment. I think round two he was solid. Everyone just sort of chipped in and played their role that night. So I'm sure he'll be looking to have a good game on Thursday as well. As you said, he's set some pretty high standards for himself. He's a great player, and he's a really important part of our team. So I'm sure he'll be looking to have a good one on Thursday as well and get some form.
Are you happy with that? Have you figured out the continuity in there, the rotations and the mix, I guess?
Yeah, well, I think we've got a lot of players that can roll through there, and there's some guys that are getting some opportunities at centre bounce, and we've probably changed up a little bit how we roll guys through there, and still early, so we're still figuring it out a little bit. But yeah, I think our mix in there is the right mix. We've just got to perform at a more consistent level.
Well, here's one of the captains this season. In these games where you have been behind on the what's name scoreboard, are you finding yourself talking more than what you did in the past, or putting more sort of pressure on yourself to try and sort of do something to sort of lift the team?
Not really. No, I probably feel I've been exactly how I was last year, to be honest. I feel like I've always been a pretty good communicator out there, and my game sense is strong and can sense what's happening around me in the game, and being able to communicate that to my teammates and the coaching staff, I feel like I'm seeing the game as well as I usually do. So I haven't changed too much. Probably just tossing the coin a couple of times and making a couple of more speeches before the game and stuff like that. That's probably what's changed. But on field, I feel like I haven't changed too much.
So Collingwood doesn't have a recognised ruckman. How does that change that midfield battle in your eyes?
Yeah, we'll try and I suppose expose that as best we can, but they're still a very quality midfield, and we've seen that teams in the past, well, us in the final last year, we had Macca, who funnily enough he might do some rucking against us this week, but he played ruck basically that whole game against Richmond, and we were able to win clearance and whatnot against them. So it doesn't mean that we're going to dominate that area of the game, but we'll have a look at some ways that we can try and exploit it, I guess. But we can't sort of focus too much on that part. I don't think it's as big a deal as what it can seem sometimes.
Macca will be warmly welcomed back to the Gabba, or maybe a few boos in there?
I'm not sure. He obviously gave great service to this footy club. We loved him as a bloke and as a player, and I'm not sure how many years, 7 or 8 years he was at the club. So yeah, he's a much-loved figure, and the crowd can sort that out for themselves. I know that former players don't usually receive the warmest of welcomes when they go back to their original team. I've found that out firsthand. So yeah, we'll wait and see, but it should be a great atmosphere, and can't wait to play in front of them, and I'm sure Macca's looking forward to getting back here as well.
Well, can I just ask about what Darcy Wilmot brings to the club on and off the field? Like, he had that crazy introduction to footy, playing finals, and I guess he's gone back to the grind now, playing regular season stuff. What do you? How would you sum up what he brings just generally?
Oh, just his energy and enthusiasm for the game is unmatched. Sort of, I don't know if he's taken over, but he reminds me a bit of Mitch Robinson with that energy and stuff that he brings. He's gets the guys up and about, always having a laugh. So you need a little bit of that in the locker room, and then on field. I thought last week he did some really courageous stuff. Had some big moments in the last quarter. So he's sort of shown that he's up to those big moments in games, and you saw it last year in the final series. He played exceptionally well for a first-year player. So we're really excited to get some more games into him and see what he can produce long term, because he's an exciting prospect for sure.
How are the injured boys, Rich and Gardner?
Yeah, Richie's going well. I think he'll train today and see how he pulls up from that. So he's definitely a chance for this week. And I spoke to Diz earlier in the week. For me, it feels like it's only Tuesday, isn't it? It feels like Thursday for me, but I spoke to him a couple of days ago and he's tracking well, so I don't think he's too far away either. Don't have a time frame, but he's moving pretty well now, so yeah, I think he's excited to do a bit more training and get back into it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.